AITAH for wanting to divorce my postpartum wife. It's stupid to think I'm at this point, but here I am. My STB ex-wife, 28F, and I, 29M, have wanted kids for years and were thrilled when she finally got pregnant last year. From day one I wanted to be the most supportive husband and future father I could. Her father was never involved in her life. I used to work as a tech in labor and delivery, and my brother, to put it kindly, is not the most involved father. I saw too many problems up close when it came to lacking husbands, and I would be damned before I made the same mistakes. The problem is, roughly 4 weeks into her pregnancy everything started going downhill. She stopped wanting sex. Fair enough. Hormones and stress make that a problem. I went full stop. But then she didn't want any physical interaction. No cuddling, no kissing, slowly becoming more and more distant. Her eating constantly changed and she was terrible about it. She would demand I get her something all day, then the moment I give it to her she wants something else, screaming at me. Okay, again. Hormonal issues, I get it, no problem. She never let me to go any appointments, no groups she went to, spent more time away, became cold and bitter. Constantly angry at me. This went on for months. Slapped me a couple times when I forgot one of her dozens of tasks she assigned me during the day. Stopped doing anything for the house a month into the pregnancy. Sure, she's pregnant, I get it, moving around is hard, but she wouldn't even do laundry about 4 weeks in, and by 5 weeks I did everything. I'm also the primary source of income. I barely sleep. Him running on fumes made me sleep in the guest room. Would always try and pick fights. I never once raised my voice, my hand, or my tone. I sat there and constantly mentally reminded myself this isn't her and this would all be worth it. She didn't want me to make any baby decisions. No name, no work on the nursery, nothing. 1 month before she delivered, she yelled how fucking useless I am and how I don't do anything and that she's staying with her mother. She didn't let me get her anything, come check on her, threatened to divorce me and get a restraining order if I even called her. A couple weeks back, I found out about the birth of my son from a Facebook post. She posted it with her mother and some family. It fucking broke me. I tried to go to the hospital and visit. They had security kick me out. After months of outright hatred, anger and abuse thrown at me 24/7, I fucking had it. Odds are I'm not even on the birth certificate. I opened a new account and all my deposits go there. I took half out of our joint account. She never bought baby stuff ahead of time, who knows what that money was going towards, so now that she has to buy supplies for our son she's used up every cent. I've gotten a lawyer. The house is mine. I'm the only one who spent money on it in any way. I've sent the rest of her stuff to her mother's house. I'm demanding a paternity test. I'm not spending another damn cent until I get verification it's my son. I'm absolutely divorcing her. She chose the stay-at-home life. If she cheated she's screwed. Her mother has money for a couple of weeks stay, not even close to enough for full-time support. If he is my son, I will absolutely be getting my rights as a father for a relationship. Last week, my STB ex called. She was practically hyperventilating. She wanted to come home. She was crying how it was all a mistake. She's not staying with her mother. She's at a friend's house. She wants to come home. She wants our son to have his father. I told her I don't fucking believe he is my son. Why the fuck would she pull this shit if he is? Show me a paternity test, and I'll do everything I can for him, and him only. She wants to meet tomorrow at a park so I can talk to her. I said sure, so I can finally say everything I should have said months ago to her face. My parents are hoping we can make up, but they absolutely understand if I won't. My brother is a deadbeat jackass so I don't care what he has to say, but my sister thinks I should at least hear her out. User comments. User 1, NTA. Someone mentioned peripausal psychosis. She needs to talk to a doctor. But sheesh, if I found out that my baby was born on Facebook, I'd be absolutely flattened. User 2, finding out your child was born over a Facebook post is unforgivable emo. NTA. User 3, NTA. But please meet her in a public place, preferably with security cameras. Do not meet her alone. Update 1. I had to speed up the process of actually talking to her since the story spread quickly around on the internet, inevitably reaching someone involved with friends or family, and now way more people I personally know are getting the details than I'm comfortable with. Oh well, my bad lol. Before I ended up chatting with her, I opened up to my parents and sister about what was happening in detail. My parents were flustered at me hiding the more unsavory details to say the least and are probably going to be checking up on me daily for the rest of the year to make sure I'm okay. My sister would probably have to be held back from thrashing her, so I had to get a friend to help with the chat since my sister would not be able to contain herself. So basically, within hours of the story going into the digital stratosphere, I called my wife back as quickly as I could to finally sit down and talk. We chose a local park this morning and I had a friend of mine record the conversation from beginning to end. I was basically ready to hear the generic affair story and get out of Dodge, but of course it got complicated. We met at a section with picnic tables and picked one as far away from other people to avoid them getting wrapped up in any awkwardness. She looked terrible. Haggard, stressed, and thankfully without the baby. She tried to have the big emotional chat and whatnot. I wasn't tearing up or acting like the hardened badass. I frankly was just wanting to figure out what this was all for. I didn't even get to ask the question before the floodgates spilled. I'm going to attempt to relay this story as best as I can because even looking back on the recording it's a mess, but also, it's because I don't 100% believe it. So fair warning, it could all be fake. This all started with her mother. As I said before, my wife's father was absent. He started off well, having 2 sons with her mother before her Mel. When her mother got pregnant with her, her father went from being the picture-perfect guy he was at first and slowly changed into a negligent, abusive, unfaithful, and unsupportive jackass, ending with him disappearing when her mother was delivering. He's been in and out of prison since. No one knows why he did it. The impression her mother always gave was a strong, resilient woman who withstood anything life threw at her and did anything for her kids. She has claimed to be in therapy for years. In reality, she has managed to conceal a deep hatred for men outside of her sons, but according to my wife there was favoritism towards her. My wife also found out she stopped therapy almost a decade ago but never told anyone. Her mother seemed to always have some slight against me and now I know why. She was never hostile, but certainly wasn't warm to me, and hearing about her secret hatred, I kinda knew where this was going. Roughly about half a year before she got pregnant, my Mill slowly began sowing seeds of doubt and bitterness into my wife. Apparently she had a full mental break. She told her about me staying late at work, possibly hiding an affair. Or that my self-providing majority on the income setting her up for a hard divorce. Everything my Mill's husband did to her, she convinced my wife I would do to her, and she pumped this poison into her for months. My wife always idolized her mother, and compounding that with anxiety she suffered from for years, she dove in deep. As soon as she got pregnant, like on the dot, she fell into a mental hole within days. And that's when her mother got hold of her again. Hearing about her pregnancy apparently triggered something fierce in my Mill and it spiraled from there. She had my wife fully convinced it was happening again. Every single thing my wife did to hurt me was at the behest of my Mill. Combined with pregnancy hormones, an undiagnosed mental illness she claims to have, no confirmation, and stress, she completely lost her mind. She 100% believed I would bail, so she was punishing me first, culminating in her moving in with her mother and leaving me out of the birth. While I was sending the papers and started the divorce proceedings, she kicked into full-blown postpartum depression. And when her mother finally got her, when she finally beat me, which I guess was her victory over her ex, did I mention she's fucking crazy, she had no more use of my wife. The family involved in the birth included my Mill's sister and my wife's brothers. While my Mill and her sister knew what was going on, my Bills got fed the BS narrative my Mill spun. When my Mill was done with her plan, the entire facade came down and my Bills found out everything upon questioning my wife. They were horrified. Needless to say, postpartum, facing a very grueling divorce on her side, no longer welcome in our home, and having done everything to alienate me from my son at the behest of a broken lunatic, reality hit her like a truck. She torched her entire life because her mother is a broken shell of a human who used her to enact her own sense of justice. The very mother who washed her hands of her after she got what she wanted. Or at least this is the story she gave me. Frankly, there are many holes in her story. The starting point of the pattern of abuse, the claims of who was involved in the delivery, me being absent from appointments, the friend, who she confirmed is female, she's staying with, and of course, my alleged son's paternity. It seems way too fucking crazy to be made up. Who the hell would go to the effort to make this up facing what she's facing? As soon as she finished, she said she's setting up a paternity test and gave me the info I need. Within luck it should be done in roughly a week or so once I do my part. She gave the most sincere apologies any human being has ever given. She's begged for another chance. I was frankly, too stunned to say anything, so she left and promised to call soon. I don't think I can give her another chance. I don't think I can ever risk anything like this again. God, I'm still hoping she's just being a cheating psycho and spinning a sympathy story to try and throw me off, because this got way too complicated. User comments. User 1. I am so sorry for your pain. Nobody deserves to go through insanity like this. I'm glad she's cooperating on the paternity test. However, no matter the results, you should go through with the divorce. You do not need this in your life. Given this incident, I would even pursue full custody of your child. Get duplicate copies of the recording of this meeting. Make sure that they are easily transferable to your attorney for the divorce. Best of luck, and of course NTA. User 2, honestly? Childhood trauma and generational trauma both are messy. Sounds completely plausible. And shitty. For everyone. Guessing your wife might never recover, guessing you're going to struggle with future relationships. User 3, if that baby is yours, you need to use every bit of this in the custody battle to get him away from your wife. She does not need to be caring for a child. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's made up or not because it doesn't change her actions and she's obviously mentally unstable at the least. She's proven to be easily manipulated and can turn on those she loves, and if her mother hates men that much, how do you think she'll be with access to a grandson? If it's not your baby, just cut ties and run away from this crazy train before it gets worse. Divorce isn't easy by any means, but once the dust settles, your mental health is so much better, speaking from experience. Good luck. Final update. Well, this was all a fantastic waste of time. This is full of stupid information that doesn't matter, so here's what happened condensed. It took me way longer than it should have to realize I should actually call someone who saw her behavior when she left firsthand. I called one of her brothers. I basically word vomited and relayed the whole story, and asked what they can verify. They could not. What actually happened? She started having an affair with a coworker roughly 4 months before she got pregnant. He gave her the AP spiel about how he was better and she should go with him when she got pregnant. She immediately gets it in her head to abuse me, usual affair crap, eventually wanting to run off with him. The day she left she did stay at her mother's, but had all the intention to move in with him after giving birth. Before she delivers, she owns up and tells her family everything. My million bills couldn't care at the time. They may not be crazy, but they still didn't like me, and from what she was selling to them about her AP, they liked him. AP was at the birth, high, and tried to start a fight with them. By then wife already did a paternity test and it was his. AP then disappears and she realizes she's fucked. We have a solid prenuptial and my house is premarital, plus we live in an at-fault state. Around that time is when I called her out and split finances. She was deep in a hole with no way out. And in her mind, pitching a drama show about her family to me made sense to get me on her side. What was the plan for my paternity test? I don't know. What was she planning for whenever I interacted with family again? I don't know. Why did her family go along with it? I don't know. How was she ever going to make up for abuse? I don't know. Is there any truth to her tale about her mother? I have no idea. I don't care at this point. This whole problem was a desperate person and her toxic family gambling everything on a no-show, and only when they had burned all bridges with me did they try and reconnect. I'm glad I called the brother who had any decency to own up to their nonsense. He realized how in deep he was and that his sister didn't help with that, and has finally done with his family's crap and wants to get away. He gave me a copy of the paternity test she gave to him. He sent dozens of messages she had with him and the family in a group chat. I have enough proof for my lawyer to bury her. I texted her and told her I knew everything. She's been messaging me relentlessly with the most vile things she can say. I'm just forwarding it all to my lawyer. I'm still in awe how she tried to pull a last resort manipulation tactic with the story about her family. It's actually kind of disturbing. But that doesn't really concern me now. Locks are changed, finances are already separated, I'm not OJ the birth certificate, and my divorce is getting ready to start. Probably will have no updates for a long time. Divorces take way longer than Reddit makes it seem like. In any way, this was the best case scenario and I'm actually giddy that I have a clean break. Huge sigh of relief. She could have at least told me the truth and spared the pointless drama. Update lol. User comments. User 1, coworker? You said she was stay-at-home wife. User 2, what actually happened? She started having an affair with a coworker roughly 4 months before she got pregnant. He gave her the AP spiel about how he was better and she should go with him when she got pregnant. But you said she's a stay-at-home wife. User 3, I really appreciate it when semi-plausible stories go serial like this and reveal how fake they are.